Hello everybody, I'm Paul.
And I'm Andrew.
And welcome back to the Fan Voice. We are on episode 12. We finally got our nice dozen in the bunch. And my goodness, do we have an episode for you tonight.
Yeah.
So, last week, as you all know, the E3 convention happened, and we're gonna try and just go over as much as we possibly can without running this podcast into a whole day.
Basically, we want to just shout out all the awesome games.
Yes.
But there was a lot of awesome games announced, so...
Everywhere. Oh my goodness.
We're probably just going to be shouting things out.
Yep.
If you're curious about what it is, a quick Google search will let you find it.
We're gonna list out just about everything that was pretty much awesome, and then pick a few favorites of our own to go a bit deeper into.
Yeah, definitely. And do you want to leave those fan favorites till the end, sort of? Get the other ones out of the way? The ones to go more in detail?
Sure, that's a good idea, actually. Right. Let's do that.
Alright, so we'll go over the ones that were announced and are cool, but we're not really going to go in depth. And then we're going to go in depth about a few other ones. There's one that I really want to talk about, and I'm sure there's one you really want to talk about.
You know what I want to talk about.
Well,
you know what we both want to talk
pretty
about.
Pretty much. We just want to talk about Smash.
Pretty much.
If we would have a whole podcast on Smash, I'd be okay with it. But I promise I'm not going to do that to you guys. Because we do that a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to try not to.
Alright,
But let's start with shoutouts.
Okay, so we got one shout-out this week from Connor Tridy, who commented on the Pac-Man reveal of Super Smash Bros. Mm-hmm. My goodness, what a reveal. But he said, I find Pac-Man underwhelming and almost gimmicky. I feel like they had to announce him before the release. Otherwise, people would have been confused to see him when they popped in their copies of Smash.
Okay, so that's true. And they would have been confused, but they would have been confused because it's a third-party character.
Yeah.
So I don't really know where he's coming from with... Yeah. I don't know where he's coming from with that.
Well, I guess I kind of get it, you know?
It's a third-party character. They want to generate as much hype as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
And they want to get the nostalgic crowd in.
Yeah.
So they've already kind of got some of that with Mega Man, and I think they were just kind of going for the
trying to hit it home.
Yeah,
kind of
definitely.
Thing. You know, I would definitely agree with him that most long-term Smash players who I guess are into it a little more than just plain casualness would have a similar state of mind with his fighting style and just him as a fighter in general. It's okay, he doesn't seem like the best fighter kind of thing, moving on. But I think one thing that's really beautiful about this reveal is just the grand unison of all of these different franchises into one thing, you know?
It's really cool. We finally have the original kind of trifecta, sort of.
Pretty much.
And that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Because these three characters, Mega Man, Mario, and Pac-Man, are three icons of gaming that I would have never thought would be in the same game.
Even Sonic.
Yeah.
You know?
Sonic too. It's you just don't think that.
No.
You don't think that they're going to be in the same game. So it's really cool that they are.
Yeah, seriously. What is it? Even on the levels of Brawl, before Brawl, you would have thought something like this was just a far-off dream.
Oh, yeah.
That never would have happened.
Totally. So it's really cool that that's the case.
Yeah.
That he's in the game.
Yeah. I mean, fighter-wise, I'll agree that he doesn't seem like the best, but I mean, I'm just so happy for Smash as a franchise to have come so far.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
So it's just a nice thing to see.
Yeah. I agree. And we'll talk more about Smash later.
Yep.
And Pac-Man as well, probably. All right. Well, let's just mention 1-2 pieces of news outside of E3.
Yeah.
The one that I do want to mention is the Season 3 trailer for Legend of Korra just came out.
Yeah.
It's the official one. It's pretty freaking cool. It's got Zuko in it.
Yeah,
what more do you
that's
need?
the big thing.
What more do you need?
I don't know about you, but I I don't know. First off, I was just really confused on everything that was happening. But it really
in the trailer, yeah.
It really seemed like there was a lot of jumping from like past to present kind of thing.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot more of that.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is about change.
Uh-huh.
So I'm sure there's going to be a lot about the past and her past lives that she's lost. For me personally, I did not like the second season of Legend of Korra. I liked, and I think it's my favorite thing from the Avatar thing in general, Avatar universe. The Origin is the best episode of television I think I might have ever seen.
Yeah.
It's absolutely phenomenal. If you have not watched it, watch it. Just watch it on its own. You don't need Korra to actually watch it. It's a standalone episode, and watch it. It's really, really good.
Definitely.
The rest of second season, I was severely underwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I left okay,
except
whatever.
for kind of the end for a bit. Like when it was just them with the two elements fighting each other. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then it got insane.
It kind of flew off the handles a little bit near the end, and by the end we're talking about, we can't rely on our past anymore, and we need to forge a new path and this whole shit. And I'm like, okay, so you're just resetting the whole show. I don't know. I didn't like season 2. Season 3 has me hyped for the specific reason that it has Zuko in it. That's literally the only reason I'm excited.
But that's kind of why I'm taking this trailer with a grain of salt, because back in season 2, the first trailer for that also looked absolutely incredible.
That's true,
in my opinion. And they had us on the hook because they were hinting with that origin story,
and
from the get go in a similar fashion.
Yeah, and the rest of this trailer looked okay to me.
It was like a ton of action. I just didn't know what was happening.
There's a ton of stuff about that looks like non-benders are getting bending powers and the whole thing, and I'm like, okay, all of that is probably going to be BS. The reason that I'm putting so much excitement and so much stake in Zuko is that bringing back an old character to ground the new series might be a good thing. And the reason I say that is that Zuko is a much better character than these characters.
Absolutely.
I mean, he
Most
really is.
of the characters
and
are.
He also comes from that older period, so he's a good reference point. He's also going to be a perfect character to interact with all these new people.
Absolutely.
And hopefully bring the series a little bit more of, okay, that's a little bit more believable. That's a main part of my thing from second season. These characters just do shit. And I'm like, you need to stop, because that made absolutely no sense.
Uh-huh.
Bringing Zuko into it might make things a little more interesting.
I think, I don't know, it's interesting to say that he would be the grounding point, because as a character, I agree, he's absolutely fantastic, but throughout the original Avatar series, he was the most emotionally unstable character of the group. No, and it's
true, but I personally think that that's part of his character.
Uh-huh.
And part of my problem is that Korra is always like, everybody's always like, oh, Korra, you always have everything so, like, you're always so crazy, you're all so off the handle. So she's meant to be off the handle too, right? Every other character, nothing they do makes sense. They're just doing shit constantly. Yeah. And I'm like, is anybody...
They're just kind of
irrelevant. Yeah.
You know?
Is anybody reining it in? Why is Bolin being an ass? Nobody knows.
Because he's got money.
Well, and not even that. Just like other stuff too. And Mako is just making absolutely no sense.
I've never liked Mako. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and suddenly the villain is like pure evil. And
yeah, what is it?
I don't know.
Who's the villain? It was that.
Unalaq was the original villain.
It looks like to me. It looks like Princess Azula with the Cyclops head guy.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so I am excited about it purely to see Zuko, because I'm interested to see how he's a character in this one. And also, Zuko's my favorite character, so I'm excited.
I just don't know where this is going.
Neither do I. And honestly, I'm going to watch it, but if this season isn't that great, and I don't think Zuko is coming back the next season, I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
I'm done after this one. So we'll see what happens. But
It'd be really a shame if this series became one of those series that, like, just left with a bitter taste in your mouth.
Yeah, I hope it's
like not. Producers trying to squeeze the last penny out of the franchise.
I hope it's not, but second season does not leave me with much hope.
No.
So,
We'll see though. We'll see. We'll watch it.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out, I guess.
Let's get happy again. Let's talk about some awesome games.
All right, let's do it. We have a lot to talk about. All right,
so let's just go. Yeah, like you said, let's just go down the list.
Go down the list of
really
stuff
quick.
to talk about that we don't want to go in depth about.
Yeah.
So Sunset Overdrive looks friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
It's a completely irreverent third-person shooter that makes absolutely no sense. And you're riding around on your shoes on rails.
It's basically Tony Hawk Pro Skater mixed with a zombie game.
What
really more could you ask for?
I really like that explanation a lot because it fits perfectly. Yeah, for me, this looks like a ton of fun, and it's on Xbox One exclusively. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Getting some.
I don't know if it's gonna. Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Mhm.
know if I'm gonna play it because it's on Xbox One, but because I'll probably be getting PS4.
Yeah,
but it looks interesting, and I don't know. Insomniac's a good studio, so we'll see what happens.
And then new Tomb Raider.
Yeah, Rise of the Tomb Raider. It was just announced. It was a pure announcement. There wasn't any gameplay footage or anything shown.
Right.
Tomb Raider was a really, really good game last year. It took me by complete surprise. It was a great reboot. My only problem is that there wasn't any tombs.
Yeah.
Hardly. And that she made a stupid comment about how she hates tombs, and so that messed with a lot of people's heads, and it made sense. It made sense, and it should have been called Lara Croft. Honestly, because it would have made a lot more sense if it was.
Yeah, it's just the name.
It's the name.
That's stuck so much.
So anyway, looks good. Keep an eye out for gameplay footage when it comes out.
Love what Square Enix is doing with it. The emotional
really
struggle side of it.
It's really
I
interesting.
love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, it's really good. So.
Yeah. Next up, Little Big Planet 3 is coming out.
Yeah. Little Big Planet 3 is awesome.
I love what they're doing.
Yes.
Four new
characters.
Different
three
characters. Three new different characters.
I like the fact that they're bringing in new characters with actual abilities this time to change up gameplay. I think that's a really good idea.
You don't see that too often these days, I feel like local 4-player where every person plays their own part kind of thing.
Yep. Looks really interesting. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that one as well.
Oh, and the music is just heavy.
Yeah,
it puts me in a happy place.
I love the presentation of Little Big Planet. So
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to a new one. I think it's going to be cool.
Definitely.
So the next two are kind of set in the same time period, it looks like.
Yeah, the Order 1886.
Yeah, and Bloodborne. So the Order 1886 looks really good. I've been following it for a while.
Yeah.
It's odd. It's this third-person shooter, but it's got horror elements to it.
Yeah.
But it's got...
This latest trailer had a werewolf.
Yeah, there's a multiplayer element to it, and the graphics look very good.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, it's interesting. It's steampunk style. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
It depends on how they all bring it together, honestly, especially with the horror sequences, because I feel like they're still trying to do this, it's an action game, but then they're like, yeah, but it's also a horror game.
Trying to juggle too many things at once.
Yeah, and I feel like it's either going to be boring and not actiony enough or not scary.
Yeah.
So I hope they do it right. It looks interesting. Has to do with demons and werewolves and a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
And the Knights of the Round Table, that's what the Order is, I guess.
Huh.
So this is like a 1886 version of that.
Okay.
Steampunk always interests me, so I'm down. I'm down for this.
And like you said, this next one, Bloodborne, is really... It seems kind of similar.
Yeah, it seems like 1800s.
A lot
demons.
of demonic zombie kind of stuff.
Something's
This
happening.
one looks like it looks pretty freaky, but it seems like it's gearing more towards action.
Yeah, this one looks like much more towards action. Now, this one we haven't seen any gameplay of, Bloodborne, but it definitely looks, like you said, more actiony, just judging from the weapon he's carrying, which is a clear melee weapon.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any guns.
He's ripping out the guts of something somewhere.
Exactly. So it's like, I think Bloodborne's going to be more melee.
Yeah.
And Order 1886 is a shooter.
Right.
So definitely some differences, obviously.
Yeah. But just looking at like the setting and stuff, like I even got confused. I thought it was the same game at one point.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So
and it I don't know. The aesthetics look really good on both these games. So let's hope
nothing to complain about.
Yeah. So the next one is Mortal Kombat X, which is awesome.
Mortal Kombat. What else do you need to say?
Nothing really. The trailer came out. It's ridiculously bloody. Then we saw some actual gameplay.
Yeah,
it's ridiculously bloody and gory.
Yeah, a B-girl with a big guy and a kid.
Yeah, new characters. I thought that was interesting. They showed new characters straight up front. Like, we're not going to mess around this time.
Yeah.
Here are 2 new characters that look really interesting, first of all. Like, my problem with Mortal Kombat is there were a lot of new characters, and every time I played one, I'm like, okay, there's nothing else happening here. Like, this isn't really that interesting.
Right.
And a lot of them were like clones, which is normal fighting game kind of stuff.
Yeah.
These 2 new characters look brand new.
Yeah.
I've never
like their
seen
own style.
He's throwing the girl, and then the girl's punching them like a grab, and it looks really interesting.
Yeah. Definitely.
So
I think it really needs a hearty like balance of both, because like with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, they're total staples. You can't just throw away too many of the classic characters.
No, you can't.
But you can't
be
make too regular.
You can't start making clones of them.
Yeah,
that's what I felt like a little bit of what Mortal Kombat was going to. I'm glad that they're showing off these characters with really different mechanics.
Right.
So,
but of course, priority above all else is making it as violent as possible.
Of course.
Bringing it back in the X-ray, and I'm looking at this, I'm like, ooh, oh, jeez, oh, that's his neck. Oh, man.
So, that looks really interesting. The next one...
Rainbow Six
Siege. So, you didn't see this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, just to mention really quickly, Rainbow Six Siege is going to be a multiplayer Rainbow Six tactical shooter. It's 4 against 4, or maybe 5 against 5. I think 5 against 5. And the demo that they showed was obviously a setup stage demo. But it's people on voice chat. I'm doing quotes around that, by the way. And they're talking about how they need to infiltrate this house, and they have a hostage in the house. And so it's very futuristic kind of shoot, like, actually more modern. They have little drones with cameras on them.
Okay.
And then they're looking as a way to get into the house and take down all the bad guys and save the hostage. And so the gameplay is really interesting because it's like a tactical shooter with 5-on-5 actual players.
Yeah.
The best part about this reveal, though, is that even though the demo is staged and it's not going to look like that on release, probably, it looked real. Like, I sat there and I said, that gameplay looks real to me. Yeah. Like, it looks like that's gameplay that could actually happen. They're kind of clipping through.
Interesting.
They're clipping through stuff on their way through a door, which never happens, right? Like, graphical kind of glitches somewhere.
Uh-huh.
It actually looked like a game. Now, awesome. I think the voice chat was all staged, and it was all kind of BS.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of the stuff they were doing is there's fully destructible environments.
That's pretty cool.
So really, they're showing off really cool stuff.
Breaking apart boundaries.
Exactly.
It seems like a lot of games are trying to touch on that aspect now that they have more power.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think that this was a good way to reveal it. They were like, look, we have this new game, and it's not going to be perfect. And this is what it would actually look like. You know, a character turns around and it's not all CG and perfect. He's just turning around and it looks like it's from Call of Duty.
Uh-huh.
And then they're blowing stuff up in fully destructible environments, and they're dropping through ceilings, and it was really well done. So nice. I was excited. You know, I think that's going to be a good game to keep an eye out for.
Yeah,
and see what it develops into. So
sweet.
Anyway,
yeah. Okay, so the next one we have is Metal Gear Solid 5.
Oh my God, that's such a long list. We have other games to get through.
We're making good pace. We're making good pace.
No. We're making good pace. Phantom Pain. Fight through the pain.
So, right up front, I've never played any Metal Gear Solid game.
Really?
Yeah.
That surprises me.
I mean, I don't have anything against it. It's just a franchise I never made it to.
Yeah.
But this trailer, oh my gosh, looks absolutely incredible.
It looks really good.
I mean, it was
all CG.
It was all
obviously.
Total cinematic, but it's this movement that we've mentioned again and again towards like a movie trailer style kind of thing. And I think Sony, above all others, brought this really, really hard this year at E3. But It looks absolutely incredible. I'm like so intrigued with this story.
Yeah, the CG looks really good, and this was really a story trailer, which is fine to me.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. It was just kind of like a music video, and they're showing the story in snippets. Looks really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I wonder what's happening. Who's that? Is that Big Boss? Is that, is it Snake? Is it... So anyway...
He's rubbing the...
Yeah, I'm like, what's happening?
It's like, ooh, this is intense.
Yeah, so that looks really interesting, and I'm glad they kind of went the CG trailer route, even though usually I'm not. I think it was okay for this because it was a story trailer.
Right, absolutely.
So, anyway,
above all the others, I think Sony can get away with it.
Yeah, usually. That's a good point.
Yeah. And the next one, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End.
So this was also just a cinematic. The reason I wanted to put it on here and just mention it is that it's called The Thief's End.
Yeah.
So, and they were talking about how it's their last hurrah. In the teaser, they're like, okay, Nate, I'll help you with this one. And that's it.
Right.
So obviously something's happened. We don't know what they're into, but it's called The Thief's End, so this might actually be the end of Nathan Drake. It's not like he's going to die. I don't know if he's going to die. But if it's the end of Nathan Drake, Uncharted could be going in a different direction, which would be interesting. I love his character. I thought the Uncharted series was a little overrated. I got there a little late, and I was like, it was fun, and it was a good game. There was some really good dialogue, but...
I think it's probably one of those games that just got impossible hype, unfortunately.
And I also think that when it came out, it was the best thing you'd ever played. Like Uncharted 2, it just looked good, and it played good, and now going back to it, I'm like, yeah, but I've played stuff like Tomb Raider, which I like better.
Okay.
And that they have kind of similar gameplay. So, I mean, yeah, anyway, I'm still excited about it.
Yeah.
If a series can just bring me like a fun couple of hours, it's Uncharted. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, this trailer was definitely just like, well, we just got to put this in.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
Super teaser-ish kind of
was.
dealio,
and that's okay. I'm okay with it. But all right, so
going into some Nintendo stuff
now. Really Nintendo stuff, basically. So the rest of the stuff was kind of Sony, Microsoft, and Ubisoft, and this stuff is all Nintendo. The first one is Splatoon, which looks pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I was so surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really interesting concept because this gameplay kind of new, kind of old. But a really addictive concept, I feel like.
It's so interesting. So for those of you who don't know what Splatoon is, they showed it off at the Nintendo Treehouse, which was kind of their huge booth. It was enormous at E3. And basically it's a game with ink. And what you do is you ink the map. Right. And at the end of the game, whoever has inked more of the map wins the game. So what's interesting is it's also a shooter. So your ink harms people on the other team. Right. And then you get super weapons that display more ink, like it's kind of like a rocket launcher.
Yeah, ink. And along with that, you can travel through your
own ink, and
which makes it really intense strategically.
Exactly, it's like you can dive into your own ink and go underneath the floor. Yeah, and move really quickly wherever you need to be, as long as it's your ink.
This increases your mobility. You could hide in the ink.
Yes,
a bunch of stuff like that.
You can hide in walls. That was the coolest thing I saw, is that he inked like this hallway, and then he made it seem like he had died, and he hid in the wall. And when the guy came around the corner, he waited for him to come around the corner and then surprised him and killed him. Yeah. And then just basically inked everything in that area because there was nobody there.
Definitely.
And it's just really interesting. Like, I don't know, Splatoon took me by surprise.
Definitely. And you can tell there's the ghosts of the first-person shooters in this, like... When you're like getting hit by stuff, there's the splatter on your screen, kind of like the blood rush or whatever when you're dying in shooter games, kind of stuff. And I don't know, I feel like personally a lot of like Call of Duty people and Halo people will hands down stick their nose up at this game.
Probably. I mean, they're gonna say it's a shooter, but it's not realistic.
It's
shooter,
too
so
immature.
They're not gonna go for it. But I think that there's a lot of depths to this game because just from what I've seen, it was amazing the kind of things they were doing. The movement around the map is some of the best in a shooter I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
He would do things like he would shoot a stream in front of him. He would
then
dive
travel
in,
through it.
and then as he jumped out, he'd shoot another stream in front of him
Right.
and dive back in and keep going. And he got to move around the map really quickly like that.
I actually saw a whole team doing that at once to get really far into the map right away.
And then go backwards.
They just kept shooting paths for each other.
I saw that.
Kind of
yeah. It was really, really interesting. I felt
Definitely.
like this is a perfect thing, by the way, for competitive play.
Absolutely,
this is like an interesting concept. There's a lot of depth going on, and there's really interesting things. This is the perfect kind of thing for Nintendo to jump on.
Definitely, yeah.
I don't know who makes this game. I don't know why they decided to pick it up. I think it looks really good. I was very surprised when I saw it. So
I think what really goes along the line is like, okay, you got an addictive concept. How much content are you going to put out for
exactly,
it? Kind of
thing.
So there was virtually, I think, only one map to play on the demo.
So there needs to be maps. That's the first thing. And
maybe a little more weaponry.
That's the thing I was going to say. Is people are talking about modes, and I'm like, no. Because you don't want to mess with the concept too much.
Right.
You can try to add kind of a capture the flag. Go for it if you want to. I would focus on the mode you have. And they said this isn't going to be full price released, I don't think.
Oh, really?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So just focus on maps and weapons.
Yeah.
And then see where it goes from there.
Right.
And even if you don't want to focus on weapons, just focus on maps.
Yeah.
But I think that this kind of gameplay is something you could play over and over again.
Seriously, I mean, it's not like Titanfall where like it had this vast universe that could have been a good campaign, but kind of fell short. It's like, this is just gameplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Burst mode.
It's really interesting, and they've obviously fine-tuned it enough.
Yeah.
To where that's going to be your replayability. It's just Splatoon. It's just ink.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
A fun little version.
Also, super fucking hype, because I don't know if you ever saw any of the close games.
There was one that was like 0.1%.
Seriously, shit gets hype. It's like, oh my god.
Do they let you see the percentage?
I'm pretty sure they don't let you see the percentage.
Just the map being covered.
They do let you see the map being covered.
I don't know. I feel like they need to like show the percentage to really get the team's blood pumping.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So like then otherwise it's like, oh, are we winning? Are we losing? I don't know. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Kind of thing,
Yeah. So I mean. It looks really good. I'm excited actually because I'm thinking about getting a Wii U, and that's one that I was like, oh, that's cool.
You know what? I'm gonna say right now. You know what? Sony's games and some of Xbox's games look pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And I was on PS4 for a while, but you know what? Saw nothing for Final Fantasy 15 or Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah,
and
they weren't there.
You know that's what I'm waiting for. You know, so I was pretty disappointed with that.
Yeah.
Of course, people are saying, "Oh, you know, they really weren't ready for they really weren't ready the last time they showed stuff or whatever." I'm like, no, they got no more excuses. It's been almost a decade. Come on, people.
I just really hope that they continue to just work on it. I hope they're not doing this thing where they're like, well, we showed it off, so we can wait a year.
Yeah, no.
Before working on it. It's like, no,
there's no more waiting left.
Yeah.
But you know what? We can all agree right now, it's not coming out soon at all. No. So it's like, now all these titles for Nintendo are coming out really, really soon.
That you want to play?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, aside from Square Enix, I'm a Nintendo boy. Mm-hmm. I'm going to admit it, you know? So, I'm feeling the Wii U coming up pretty soon.
Well, fucking speaking of feeling the Wii U, there's a new Star Fox coming for Wii U.
Oh my gosh, this is needed so bad.
That's probably going to be next year. But I'm still fucking hype about it.
Yeah, they didn't really show much of anything from it.
So it was just pure announcement. Yeah. Miyamoto just basically said, I'm working on a new Star Fox. And everybody was like, what? So I hope that we hear more. I'm okay with not hearing anything right now.
This one's going to be...
It's fine.
Yeah, this one's going to be a really delicate process because they have kind of screwed up the
They have.
the process before. I mean, Star Fox Adventures, walking around in Star Fox.
Yeah, it was not.
It's like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, not a good
kind of
idea.
thing. But Assault was a step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ship parts were absolutely incredible in
Yeah.
my opinion. It's just they did still have that walking, so it
Yep.
was kind of 50-50, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they tried doing the walking with all these like weaponry and stuff.
Mhm.
It's like, I mean, next to Halo and all that, it's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah,
You know?
like, you think I'm going to play this just because it's Star Fox?
Yeah.
Why not?
No.
If
But-
it was
but
Star
the
Fox in a plane, I'd play it.
The ship levels were really awesome.
Yeah.
And that was like half of it. And the last battle, oh my gosh. Did you ever get through that?
No, I never did.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it was kind of the most insane thing ever. This massive like bug alien thing. It was really
Wow.
intense. Yeah.
So,
And hard.
yeah. Well, I hope the new Star Fox follows in that
Definitely.
with more ship battles.
They were
or
saying
just
it was like
purely
some
ship
sort of
battles.
like robot war or something.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah,
I
there's a
thought
lot of
I thought
leaks.
I heard something.
There's a lot of
about that.
rumored info, and we're
Yeah.
not sure what's been. All we know is that there's a new Star Fox coming. So, anyway,
Good news, because there was absolutely nothing for Wii.
Yeah,
So,
seriously.
yeah. So, no, it's nice to have you back, Star Fox.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next one I'm also really, really excited for is Hyrule Warriors.
Mhm.
So, okay, right off the bat, I know at least half of the Zelda community is not excited for this
Yeah.
because this is nothing like a Zelda game.
It's not like a Zelda game at all. So this is just a Destiny Warriors game.
Yeah.
Packaged with Zelda characters.
Basically hardcore real-time action.
Yeah, I mean they did
kinda
the
stuff.
same. They did the same thing with Gundam. They took a Destiny Warriors game and they put Gundams in it,
Yeah.
and it was fun and
Mhm.
it's fine. Hyrule Warriors is not. I don't get where people are like, this is changing away from them developing, the new Zelda. I'm like, do you
They're
think
doing it right now.
they don't have the same team working on that? You
No,
guys. Like,
yeah.
this is a whole fucking other team. This is a
It-
whole other thing.
This isn't Tetsuya Nomura not finishing
Yeah.
two
No.
really big games at once.
This is
Yeah.
not. This is not what's going on.
No,
They have
absolutely
this is a
not.
whole new team. They're just making a Destiny Warriors Zelda,
Yeah.
which I think could be really fun.
You know, I'm a big fan of real-time action, which is what's drawing me into this so much, and watching all that gameplay, Link running through an entire army, just taking out whoever he
Mhm.
can, fighting a massive dragon. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting adrenaline just
Yeah.
watching this kind of thing.
and
you know?
and Midna looks really interesting to play
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm excited to see. Honestly, more like I want to play Zelda too,
Right.
like because they've announced that she's a playable character at some
Right.
point,
Yeah, absolutely.
and that would be really
I
interesting.
hope they have a few more because
I think they will.
I really want Sheik in there. I think she would be cool.
Sheik would be fucking awesome. Yeah, and honestly, like playing as somebody like Ganondorf, like if you got
Oh
to
my
play,
gosh,
that would be
yeah.
really fucking cool.
Of course.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean,
We'll
Hyrule
see,
Warriors?
what they do
We'll see.
with this. It looks really,
Looks
really
interesting,
awesome in my
so.
opinion. If you're a fan of real time action and you like Zelda, I mean, come on, this is going to be pretty cool
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah.
that audience. You know?
definitely.
Yeah. And okay, so moving on, there were some more Pokemon trailers for
Yeah.
Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and I want to give a quick shout
pretty
out
good.
to Bryce Steiner, who actually showed me some CoroCoro magazine scans before the trailers came out
Nice.
for the new Mega Evolutions
Wow.
of Swampert and Sceptile. Have you seen them?
Yeah.
Sceptile looks intense, but Swampert, holy crap, taking steroids much.
I was just gonna say that he seriously looks like he's been on roids for the past 3 years.
Mariah's so
Like,
happy with it though, because that's Swampert's like her baby
okay.
kind of thing.
Nice.
But she showed me a really funny comic where he's like, I need a Mega Evolution too, so he just takes rare candies and then buffs up. You see his giant muscular form just sitting there, and then he's just like, bruh. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, things are looking interesting for Pokemon.
Oh, and the new forms of Groudon on Kyogre have been labeled as Primal Groudon and Kyogre.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay.
Yeah, so where their insides are glowing kind of thing.
Oh.
So like on the cover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're actually considering it an evolution, but a stone broke in front of them, and then they turned into these forms, kind of thing. So
okay. All right. Well,
yeah, it's cool. I
guess.
Kind of
interesting. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. But yeah, it is going to be 3D World.
Yep.
Which we weren't sure about before.
Yeah.
But
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're going with that direction.
Definitely.
Instead of reverting back and just doing like remaster.
It would have been a really weird choice if you ask me.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, to go back from going from Pokemon X and Y to go to that.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is a good choice. But
Yeah.
So excited for a new adventure.
Yeah.
It's such.
All right. So the next Zelda was teased.
Yeah.
Sort of.
But again, they're really pushing this massive open world kind of thing.
Which is interesting to me. I think it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how they said, well, we tried to do that with Wind Waker, but we couldn't really because it wasn't possible with the technology.
Hey,
so
I wasn't complaining with how huge that world was.
Me neither. But they were like, so we made it interconnected islands, and so each island was its own map world. And he's like, but now we can have fully realized open worlds for Zelda, for the Legend of Zelda series. I think that's really cool.
And it's kind of going along the same lines as design-wise as I would say like Skyward Sword, kind of like an in-between thing between like Wind Waker and like a regular Zelda game kind of style. It's kind of got that cell shading.
Yeah.
But Link is like still pretty humanoid kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that arrow, holy crap, man.
Yeah.
It's like
that was
was a pretty cool looking weapon. I wouldn't mind seeing what that's about.
So I don't know. I mean, it looks interesting. I think there could be some issues with fans and the open world thing. I think a lot of people are not going to like what he said about you can do it in any order. Like, you can go and do this, and then come back and do this puzzle, and then come back and do this puzzle.
You think so?
I think a lot of people might have a problem with that just because Zelda has kind of been a formula. You know, these temples. But as long as those temples are there and you need to go through them in an order, having the rest of it be an open world, I think that's a really, really great idea to kind of keep it fresh, but still kind of keep the formula going.
Right. I mean, Wind Waker kind of did that with like tons and tons and tons of like side missions. Like after you went through the temples, you could do all these other things to like pump up your weapons and all that. And you know what? I think personally, I'd enjoy that more of like doing temples in non-specific orders kind of thing, because like. You know, that was the real charm for me and why I personally think 64 is better than Mario Galaxy, is because it was kind of the same thing. It was much more exploration and kind of open world kind of thing, whereas Mario Galaxy was a little more linear. Like, once you got in the world, that star you were set to, you had to get that star pretty much.
Yes.
Kind of thing, you know?
No, that's definitely true. And personally, I liked that about Galaxy. I liked the fact that it was kind of a return to form to, like, it's a world, and then it's a level. Play the level, but it was with an interesting mechanic, and that was the gravity. Yeah. So I liked that a lot. And I never got to play Mario 64 or Sunshine, really any of those. So I was like, oh, well, it's Mario.
Sunshine was kind of in between. You know,
it was a little bit. It was more open world though.
Yeah,
than Galaxy,
like,
for sure.
Like you can explore a lot more worlds, but once you got in the world, it was kind of the same thing where it's like there's a specific shine going on, kind of thing. You know.
No, that's true. Yeah. That's definitely true.
So, kind of in between.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm glad that they're doing kind of an open world Zelda. It's kind of an interesting concept, and I like the fact that. They said, you know, this is something we wanted to do for a while. Now that we have the technology, we're going to do it.
Right, exactly.
And I'm glad that instead they were like, oh, this might, you know, like... Because he did say in the interview or in the trailer or whatever, he was kind of like, well, it's not exactly like older Zeldas. You know? So I don't know.
Well, yeah. Not much to base off of right now.
Unfortunately,
very teaserish.
Yeah,
so.
incredibly teaserish.
Yeah,
All right.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, so next one is Yoshi's Woolly World. We'll just talk about this one really quickly.
Yoshi! Yay!
Yeah, it's basically like, what was the Kirby one?
Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Kirby's Epic Yarn. It's basically like that, except
Another
it's Yoshi.
Dealio for that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing I'm excited about is it's definitely taking the Yoshi story style. And
Yeah, that's true.
it's going to be 2-player.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It can be 2-player, which I think will be fun, you know? Love
Well, that
cooperative
makes
stuff.
more
And I
interesting.
liked
Yeah.
Yoshi's story.
Yay,
It was really
more,
short,
more local
It
co-op.
was kind of fun. Yeah, exactly. Hail Nintendo for that.
Yeah,
My goodness.
they're the only ones to ever do it.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we'll go through the next two very quickly. But Bayonetta 2, really close, and they're also including the first Bayonetta in it.
Yes, which I was very surprised at.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, for free? Okay. I was like, that's cool, I guess. So
I guess just kind of claiming more ownership since Nintendo's the only one doing Bayonetta 2 kind of thing. I haven't played this, but I'm interested to. Because I have been looking for more of those real-time action games. I just got into Devil May Cry kind of thing and enjoyed that a lot. So I'd like to get into Bayonetta at one point. Yeah. Definitely. And then Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles X, I think it's called. Never played Xenoblade either, so never really got a chance to see what the hype was about. I've heard really good things, though. I heard it was a JRPG that really did a lot of things right. So I think a lot of people are excited about the new one. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
So,
yeah.
All right,
and
so
we still need our highlighted one.
Yeah, so we have a few. Good lord, we have a few that we highlighted to talk about that are kind of like a big deal. I'm thinking we'll go in this order. I'm pointing at the screen. Don't worry about it, audience. So we'll go
from bottom to up.
We'll
I see what you're saying.
Okay. We'll just start off by, I just wanted to talk really quickly about Far Cry 4. And in fact, this should probably be with the other ones, because I don't think you've ever played a Far Cry, have you?
No.
Okay, so I really loved Far Cry 3. And the villain in Far Cry 3 was excellent. And his motion capture and voice acting and everything was really well done. And the gameplay was fantastic. You're basically dropped in like open world island, and you got to go around and you can liberate these fortresses. So it's almost exactly like Assassin's Creed. Yeah, liberating little outposts and meeting random encounters in the jungle, and then you have animals everywhere that are trying to kill you. So it's like this jungle island, and it's really a fascinating gameplay. So that was really, really cool. There's a lot of emphasis on stealth as well, which is really awesome. So Far Cry 4 looks to be doing all of that again, and it's all kind of amped it up a level. The first reveal of the game in general had to do with the villain, who looks kind of batshit insane, amazing, and he looks awesome, and the mocap and the voice acting is really good again. Right. Also, that's going to be Troy Baker. If you guys know who Troy Baker is, he's the one that was the main character in BioShock Infinite. He was the main character in The Last of Us, Joel, and he played the Joker in the latest Batman game. So he is, and he's this new villain. That's intense. That guy's doing work, and each one of those roles completely different sounding. Right. The guy has a range. It's pretty incredible. So anyway, I'm excited about Far Cry 4. I think there's some chances for co-op there that I was really clamoring for before in Far Cry 3 that I didn't get, because the co-op was shit. There was no chance for stealth. This one looks like maybe there's a little bit more chance for that. Okay. So I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about Far Cry 4. Nice. Definitely keeping an eye out for it. That's something that could make me purchase a PS4. Would be that game. Okay. Because I loved Far Cry 3, and I got a lot of hours out of it. Like, way too many. I did everything in that game. So, yeah, Far Cry 4, fucking on my radar. Yeah. Speaking of more co-op. Yeah. Assassin's Creed Unity. So, Unity is, first of all, taking place in Paris, which is awesome. French Revolution. Great setting for Assassin's Creed. 4-player co-op. Don't know how I feel. On the one hand, co-op is more co-op is a good thing. I think. I like co-op experiences.
Do you know if this is local?
No,
it's not. Okay.
But anything co-op, I think, is a good thing. I'm like, all right, I get it. Co-op's a good thing. Like, my problem is Assassin's Creed to me was never a co-op game. It was a single-player experience done really well.
You do so much alone, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I like that. Like to me, that's the point of Assassin's Creed. I mean, I've played all of them.
You can't settle anywhere. You're just like on the move, kind of.
Yeah, and I don't like the thought that in order to get everything out of the game, I would need people to play it with me. Right. I don't want that. I want to sit down with an Assassin's Creed game and play it all the way through. Mm-hmm. And, like, do things myself. I don't want to be like, oh, there's a little notification. You could have somebody play with you. And I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that right now. Not for this game. Not for this game. I want, and that's the other thing about Assassin's Creed is I really liked the story of the Assassin's Creed 2 franchise, of 2 Brotherhood and Revelations. I really liked that story. Mm-hmm. I hated 3's story. I hated it. I thought it was the worst written thing I had ever played. It was awful. And I didn't play all the way through Black Flag, so I don't know what's going on with that. But, once again, we get this thing where now it has to be co-op. So now it's about the co-op experience. So now the story is going to take even more of a backseat.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't want it to devolve, because it's already started to do this. I mean, it did it in the series of Assassin's Creed 2 games. I mean, now I don't want it to devolve into just placing the main character in historical context.
Right. I mean,
because a lot of the story sometimes would just devolve into that, and there would be no actual character development. But they got over that relatively quickly. Uh-huh. But in the third one, that's all it was. He was just a fucking cardboard box, and they put him in historic, like, here you go, American Revolution.
I mean, what it's sounding like is basically okay, this franchise is super popular now, so now they're just chucking 10 darts at once at a board, trying to hit every single point they possibly could to get a little more, like, money out of it.
Yeah, make it a little bit more appeal to other people.
That's what it's sounding like.
I see that. I can see that. They're like, ooh, multiplayer experiences where all of your friends are all playing at the same time. Mm-hmm. Oh, let's throw that up there. I think you might be right. If done right, and there are separate co-op missions, or the same mission that I could do over again,
like a really good campaign, and then a bunch of co-op stuff as well.
Yeah, or like, I can do all of the single-player missions co-op, or I don't have to. And it wouldn't matter either way.
Right.
That would be fine. Mm-hmm. I would be great with that.
Yeah.
I would play through it again, co-op. That's not what Assassin's Creed is to me. Like, I'm not clamoring for other people to join my Assassin's Creed game so we can play it cooperatively. I'm
Right, exactly.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
If done right, it could be really cool, could be a good addition. If done wrong, it could be terrible.
Yep.
I don't know. Anyway, that's Assassin's Creed Unity. I've talked too much about it.
No worries, no worries. We got a couple other big ones up ahead, so this is where things start getting big.
Yeah.
Really big. Destiny.
Alright, so Destiny was...
The trailer for that
looked
insanely
So the trailer was actual gameplay.
Intense.
I was like, awesome.
Yeah.
Like, the trailer wasn't a CGI thing or anything. It was just like, no, there's actual gameplay. You're actually
it was like kind of going through the story at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. And it definitely did not look next-gen. Like, it looked like an older Halo game.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, it's not really a bad thing. But I'm like, it's just funny to me that Destiny is being touted as this huge graphical improvement.
Right.
And then I look at it and I'm like, it just looks like kind of a generic first-person shooter.
Uh-huh.
That's it. But that's not why I'm excited for Destiny. I'm excited for Destiny because of the applications of, like, multiplayer and, like, everything else is being built from the ground up for that.
And the universe looks much, much, much more intricate compared to the beginning of Halo.
Yeah. Thing. Yeah, like, there's a lot going on. Yeah. There seems to be a really good story.
It's not focused on one guy. It's focusing on, like, how many species, civilizations all over the planet trying to fight, kind of thing.
It looks really interesting, and it looks like being built from the ground up with co-op in mind and multiplayer in mind and this persistent world in mind. is going to be a really good thing for it.
Yeah.
You know, these public events that I keep hearing about sound so awesome, where you just walk into a warehouse and there's a giant monster. And then you walk into it, public event starts. And suddenly there's 15 players already fighting this thing, and then you're in the fight.
Oh my gosh.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The persistent online world is such a cool idea.
Yeah.
And the gameplay looked interesting. Some of the powers looked good. I'm afraid that it's going to look a little stale on the gun side, unless they do something pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And all the powers looked really similar, so I'm hoping we see some new ones.
Right.
Because I've seen, because that's the thing, is I saw this, and I watched this, and I was a little worried. He threw a grenade at one point, and then he threw a power grenade, which was like his power, and they both did the same thing.
Oh, really?
And I was like, Destiny? It's literally the same motion, just different arms. Like, I don't understand what you're going for here.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that they release some new powers, that there's some other interesting things happening.
You know, I really feel like with this one, it's hard to judge what they're really trying to push more. You know, the verse mode or the lore of the universe. You know? Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
it's a tough call because they've been hyping both a lot.
Yeah,
I feel like,
and I feel as if this universe is going to be really interesting, but I have a feeling that the story isn't going to be that great. But if it's more like an RPG where you can go around and you can kind of discover more things about the world, and the world building is really good, then I think it's worth it.
I'm kind of confident about the world and the universe because, I feel like, what is it? Looking at the beginning of Halo, I felt like it was really, really straightforward, but then all this, lore and stuff bursted forth out of that into, tons of different directions and created this huge tree of an expansive universe with novels and comics and everything. And, I feel like Destiny is, like I said, Destiny is starting out stronger than Halo did on the story side. So, it could have that same potential of just, exploding into something so much more than it originally was, kind of thing.
And I'm hoping that leads them to a little bit of a more unique approach to worlds and story and everything else, because they have this all built already. Yeah. And it's more like an MMO in the world and gameplay and everything. Well, not gameplay.
A lot of... Well, it's a first-person shooter, but they're definitely taking stuff from MMO.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess another advantage they have is they're really trying to hit something new that no one else has ever hit before.
Yep.
So, we'll see how that goes.
So, the next thing we have, before we get to the next thing, I was just thinking, one that we did not have on here is No Man's Sky. And I'm pretty sure you haven't seen it. So we're going to go and watch it after we're done recording this, and it's going to be awesome because it blew my fucking mind. But I just want to mention for everybody listening, you have not seen No Man's Sky.
Remind me, I might have seen it.
It's like Minecraft with spaceships, and each player starts out on a new planet.
Yes, I did see that.
Okay.
Traveling from one planet to the other kind of thing. It's
all seamlessly.
Oh my gosh.
All persistent.
All the exploration.
What the fuck?
Oh my goodness.
And the guy threw out Infinite. And I went, no, that's not what he meant. And it is what he meant. Each player that starts on a new world.
Oh my gosh.
The distances between planets is random. The planet itself is random. The species are random. They're randomized, he was talking in an interview, I guess, about, and I haven't seen the interview, so don't quote me on it, but he was talking about how the species themselves are randomized. You'll find species that look similar, but they have a different tail, or, the evolution was different, so their skeletal structure is a little bit different. And that's randomized in every single planet.
Oh my goodness.
So then you can just get on your ship, leave, blow some bitches up, and go on another fucking planet. Are you kidding me? Seamlessly? No loading zones? I actually still am a little skeptical about if that's actually going to be possible.
Yeah.
But
if it is,
that's literally, like, that's already some of the best use of this technology, of new technology I've ever seen. I mean, talking about a powerful game is a game where you're like, let's both start up at the same time. Hey, where are you? Oh, I'm like fucking, so you would take you days in time. Game time.
Let's meet up on a planet.
We are on different sides of the universe. My planet's way over here. It would take us days to get together. That's incredible.
I'd fly 10,000 miles for you.
So, No Man's Sky, I'm really excited, and I'm really hoping they pull it off.
That was Sony too, right?
That was Sony, and Sony took a chance on these guys. Sony went, you know what? You're a small indie studio. You're making this amazing game. Money.
Yeah.
Make the game for
They're
PS4.
really giving a lot of indie love.
How incredible is that they're able to do this PS4 and PC game, and they're going to be able to blow it out of the water, hopefully, because of the money they get.
Seriously.
I don't know. No Man's Sky was like top of my list. I can't believe it didn't come up when we were making this in the first place.
There were so many.
There were a lot, but I mean, No Man's Sky, I really hope they're able to pull it off. I really hope they're able to rein that in. And I mean, my expectations, a lot of people are saying it's impossible to have infinite worlds,
but
linked together and all this stuff.
What?
And I'm like, that might be true.
If it's not, it's another huge step towards that. And we're getting there.
And I feel like that could be a really good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's even possible. I don't know if this technology even exists. But if it does,
Holy crap.
Game of the year.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's No Man's Sky. Go look it up if you haven't seen it. It really did blow my mind a little bit. Yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
On top of hype list. I'm watching for that one. Yeah. I'm seeing how it goes. I want to see more about it.
Travel the universe together.
Yep. I want to see more about it.
Okay, so we got one more big one, and then the big one.
Yeah. All right.
You guys all know we're going to talk
about.
Okay, but before that.
Yeah.
We have a new trailer for Halo.
Yes.
Halo 5 Guardians.
So, first of all, what you noticed immediately, is that the Arbiter in this new guy's visor?
Dude, I could tell by the voice.
I think it's the
Arbiter.
Arbiter.
He had a very, indicative voice.
No, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. So, really exciting. This trailer shows a new character, the new character of Halo 5 Guardians. Obviously not Master Chief.
Yeah.
That's going to be different. And the Arbiter is talking to him and saying, you need to find him. In order to find him, you can't just believe all the stories. You have to get inside his head and all this stuff. And then we see the Arbiter in his visor. And so, what's happening? Master Chief is obviously not there. He's gone. No. They don't know where he is, obviously. And somebody, this agent, whoever it is being recruited to find him.
He's going to take his place as the main character in this game.
And we see when the window opens up what I'm pretty sure is a Forerunner planet. Mm-hmm. So, what is happening?
It just arises a lot of questions. Because when we first saw the poster for it, it's like, okay, a new character. Is this just like, overall, just like, taking Master Chief's place? Is this... The first thing I thought was like, oh, his armor is way different, looks a lot more advanced. I thought this was like way in the future, starting a whole new adventure kind of thing. But then the Arbiter starts talking to him. It's like, no, this can't be that far off kind of thing.
Yep.
So it's like, now there's a hunt for Master Chief or something?
Yeah, something's happening here where Master Chief must have kind of gotten himself into a situation with the Forerunners. It probably has to do with Cortana, I'm going to assume.
Probably.
Or some kind of AI.
Yeah.
And he's obviously...
What if he just lost his mind?
And that is
Cortana is gone.
That is something I was also thinking about.
Yeah.
The very first reveal of Halo 5 was him... Suddenly, he's got a cloak on. And then he reveals it and he's got a grenade in his
Was
hand.
that officially for Halo 5?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
And so he's somewhere. Not from home.
No.
There's monsters. Something's happening.
Weird spaceship
thing.
thing.
So I am really excited to see where this goes, because I really liked the story of Halo 4. Not actually, the whole thing with the Didact was okay. It was too confusing. There's parts with the librarian.
You know what? I still liked Halo 4, but I didn't care about the Didact so much.
I cared about Cortana.
Yeah, exactly. What really brought it home was the relationship of Master Chief and Cortana.
And I think for most people, that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm hoping that's what they'll focus on.
Yeah.
But having a new character doesn't hurt. I think the fact that Master Chief has kind of been, like in that last game, we kind of saw a send-off a little bit for Master Chief. I think it's a good thing. If you can bring in an interesting character, this universe is so amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you can pick a Spartan and make them so fascinating.
Personally, you know what? I wouldn't roll out the fact that this new guy is going to take Master Chief's place.
Neither would I.
Permanently. Yeah. And I'm a little okay with that, honestly.
So am I. Yeah.
Like, Master Chief has run his course through 4 games and it has survived a ridiculous amount of things. So, you know what? Just, like, put him aside. And that also brings into question the Master Chief collection coming out kind of thing. So it's like, maybe it is just a new era.
Maybe it is. So that was the other thing about Halo, was the Master Chief collection.
Yeah.
So this is Halos 1 through 4.
Yep.
And it's all on Xbox One. Most amazing part of this for me, all of the multiplayer experiences
are in it.
That's amazing.
That's a huge amount of data.
Huge. And not only are you going to have original Halo 1 with original Halo 1 pistols, you're going to have Halo 2 original maps. You're going to have the glitches and the exploits that people found in Halo 2. They're still going to be there.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They said the BXR is still in. So,
oh my goodness.
I'm like, that's awesome to me. I'm like, wow. They really, like, listen to people, because that's what people said. They were like, well, I don't want like a remastered one if I'm going to get Halo Reach multiplayer like they did with CE. Halo CE Anniversary.
Oh.
It was Halo 1 remastered, and then they gave them Reach multiplayer.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people were like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The fact that they did this, fucking awesome. And it's all going to be on Xbox One, that's amazing.
Smash could take a hint from this,
yeah,
from their...
seriously.
From bringing back some of their older games. Mm-hmm.
So, is that a segue, Paul, or...
Sure.
Alright, it's officially a fucking segue. Okay. Halo looks awesome. Halo 5 Guardians, look it up. Also, Master Chief Collection.
Looking forward to see what's
in
in
store for that. It's a good addition to Xbox One. Smash.
Let's do it.
Alright, so...
Where the heck do we start?
I don't even know. Alright, number 1. Actually, yeah, I do know where to start. Number 1. I didn't get a chance to play it. Damn it. But, that's okay. I deal with it. I probably only
we got to see a lot of it at E3.
And that's the thing, is I felt like I got to see a lot of it, see what the gameplay was like, so I'm okay with it. The line at our local Best Buy Wednesday night was a nightmare. And
it sucks, but it's not surprising because there's only one in our whole state that's going to have it.
One Best Buy, one station. What the hell, people? Why is that a thing? Anyway, so
they had no idea what they were prepared for.
I think they knew.
Yeah, really?
They were just like, nah, we're just only going to send one station. Because Nintendo deals with hype. Nintendo deals around hype, around excitement, around making people wait.
Okay,
shortages.
I take that back. They did know. I mean, the Smash Fest tournament.
I really think. I mean, they announce it and they call it the Smash Fest and they put it out there, and you don't think there's going to be 300 people in line? There's going to be 300 people.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's unfortunate that I should have been expecting to go earlier. Didn't get a chance. That's what happens when you're a working adult, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'll be able to get to it.
Yeah, we're recording this before Saturday, so
possibly I might be able to make it in.
Possibly, if Paul gets it in, you might post your things online.
Yeah, definitely.
Post your impressions. Yeah. There we go. Impressions. What I was thinking of.
Yeah.
All right, but gameplay wise, just from what we've seen. I guess we can just start. Let's just talk about the Invitational, because the Invitational was the greatest look at it, because it was players that were not demoers of the game. It wasn't like it was a demo, or it wasn't like some weird camera angle of somebody sneaking footage. It was like they streamed the gameplay.
Yeah,
they screen capped it, right? So it's straight from Nintendo, and it's players that are not They haven't been told you have to do this, you have to do that.
No, they know what they're doing.
You don't show off these things like, it's a tournament, play to win.
Yeah.
So we got to see a real snapshot of the game.
Right.
So that was great. What sucks is that it was items and FFA.
Yeah.
And honestly, coming into it, I was like, I get it. They want to show off items. They want to do all this other stuff. And then the tournament started, and the first 2 minutes, I was like, damn it, this is a lot worse than I thought. Because here's the thing. I was like, in my head, I'm like, they want to show it off. It's fine, whatever. I'll get to see
There will be cool
people.
things, but then it's just like crazy explosions everywhere. The winning system, it really confused me. It's like, okay, the guy who won gets in, and then second player is most points.
Yeah,
I
most
thought it was just whoever survives second kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but instead it's like, all right, who got the most points? Okay, now we have the fan favorite thing. Who votes for the fan favorite?
Like,
all right, that guy's in.
What is going on?
Dude, the tournament structure was like, what happened?
Yeah.
What the fuck just happened? But
you know, it drove me crazy because I was messaging Atticus and Brian and a couple other friends throughout the tournament, and Atticus is looking to get into this because he loves Little Mac and he's really into boxing and stuff, and but he's also a competitive fighter, and I'm like, Smash can be competitive, but this is a horrible example of it, you know?
So, I mean,
flat out, he was like, I don't know what's going on, and I'm like, you know what, honestly, I don't know either. You know?
What's going on is that there is always one person, they're always full hopping on the side and just trolling everybody else, and then there's 3 players all going for items. And that is literally it. That was every single match.
Yeah.
The smart players were the ones in the corner not doing anything because they were going to get by. The girl from Tempe, local, that's what she did. Wii Fit Trainer, right? Wasn't that her?
Hungry Box did it for a match.
Hungry Box
right
did it.
Before the final.
Zero did it a lot.
Zero
was
binged on the Smash Ball one.
Yeah.
I think he got it like 4 times.
Yeah, and apparently he didn't know her final Smash going into the tournament. He picked Zero Suit because he liked the way she played, and he thought she was
Isn't
really
that
good.
one of his mains?
Zero Suit?
Yeah, Zero.
I think he mained Meta Knight. I think he was a Meta Knight main, I thought.
Oh.
He might have mained Zero Suit in Brawl. I'm not sure.
But he was a Brawl player.
Yeah, he was a Brawl player.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he mained Meta Knight. I could be wrong. We'll have to look that up later, but...
I thought I looked it up and it said Zero Suit Samus.
Okay,
and
then it might have been.
I was under the impression because his name is Zero.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, so he was obviously playing Zero Suit Samus really good with her, and just knew how to camp, basically.
Right.
And get shit done, and that's exactly what he did. That's what Wii Fit Trainer did. That's what Hungry Box did in his matches.
Yeah.
And that's what Hugs did with Mega Man sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he kind of sat over in the corner and just kind of camped. And it worked. I mean, that's the thing, is that when you have items and you can sit over in a corner and an occasional item comes your way, you can do that in a 4-player match.
But you know what was one thing that was really exciting about the 4-player matches? Is seeing the new characters' final smashes in action.
That's true, because they had items on, so we got to see final smashes.
Mega Man. Much hype.
The crowd fucking erupted. It was fantastic. And
Greninja.
Exactly.
And even when Hungry Box did Kirby's final smash,
that was
time
awesome.
he got all 3 people.
Oh, he got all 3 of them. That's right.
Yeah. That was insanity.
So, I mean, that's what Nintendo wants.
Yeah.
Is they get to that point, and then everybody's super hyped for Mega Man's final smash, and they're like, so at that point I was like, I get it. But also at the same time, these competitive players just felt lost. They looked lost to me.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they did something, I was like, I feel so bad for you. Because you just got hit by something, and you had no idea it was coming.
I feel
at some point a box dropped on PPMD. Instead of flying off the stage, and that managed to get him killed.
I feel like Ken had a really hard time handling all that too.
Yeah,
definitely.
Ken didn't know what was up. He was sitting there like, I don't know what's happening. He
but
got
like
wrecked.
the few sparse moments where items weren't flying everywhere, he was getting stuff done.
He was.
He was taking care of people.
He was making Marth look good. However, Pew Pew U was making Mario look even better. Because he had, strings. I don't think they were combos. I think if Wii Fit Trainer could have air dodged those, actually. I'm pretty sure she could have air dodged those.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a combo in the melee sense. It was more of a string in the brawl sense. But that's fine. I mean, it was really good. He obviously knew what was up with Mario so far. So, I mean, the 4-player matches, they weren't. There was just a lot going on. Some of it looked fun because we got to see some of the other stuff in action. Final smashes.
So many characters.
Right.
Like,
trophies.
I was hardcore analyzing Greninja.
Yeah, no, seriously. I was doing the same thing. I was trying to figure out what was going on with Fox. I was trying to figure out what was going on with Mega Man.
Yeah.
And so I was, as I was watching that, I'm like, this was a good way to see that.
Right.
As the tournament went on, items went lower, and you got to see more of the gameplay.
Right.
Which was good.
Yeah.
Which was really good.
Mm-hmm.
However, I started to notice, especially in the fan favorite ones, because PPMD was playing Fox, that combos are brawl.
Yeah.
And from what I had heard from other people and what got me so excited about the Invitational, so many people are like, guys, there's combos, there's hit stun. And I'm like, wow, there's hit stun in this game, that's a good thing. What they mean by hit stun is PPMD was basically able to just U-tilt with Fox over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a combo. I was like, really? That's what we have? That's not at all what's happening here.
The pacing all around definitely looks
it's
like
the pacing.
Gravitating more towards
It's
brawl. Like, a little faster, but...
So, that's the thing.
Still more towards
as
brawl.
the tournament went on, we got to see some really cool stuff. KDJ did not get a chance to mess with Rosalina. Rosalina is not a character you can learn in a day, I think.
No, absolutely
That's
not.
going to take a while.
She's going to be one of the most complicated, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I was excited to see he was already figuring some stuff out, and I was like, this looks really awesome. I'm really excited for Rosalina.
Uh-huh.
So I was glad that items went down. We were able to see a little bit more of the characters. As the fan favorites went on, we got to see more and more Fox, who just... He looks like Brawl Fox. He does not look good.
Yeah. He wasn't making any KOs with the up slam.
Yeah.
And
they nerfed that up smash, dude. You can't kill people now until they're at like 120.
Even the announcers pointed that out.
Well,
it's like, wow, this is kind of weak.
Prague, D1, and Scar, they pulled no punches with that kind of stuff. I really appreciate that they didn't.
They tried to slip in as many hints of the important stuff as much as possible.
They were using terms like forward air instead of fair.
Yeah.
And they weren't mentioning wave dashing and L canceling, which was great. I really liked that. But on stuff like that, they were like, wow, Fox's up smash seems weak this time around. PPMD better stop using it, basically.
Yeah.
And that was really good that we got to see that. And we got to see that Fox is not Melee Fox.
Right. Zero Suit Samus looks better.
Zero Suit Samus looks better.
Yeah.
Zero Suit Samus looks definitely better range and better recovery in all of her moves.
A little faster, too. Like, especially
Definitely.
in the last match when he did, like, 3 down slams really fast.
Yep. Yeah.
That was insane.
So, as far as I can see, Zero Suit, definitely better. We're going through the tournament, right?
Yeah.
And we're doing fan favorite stuff, which made no sense to me. I was like, okay, people are voting for stuff, and then they get into it, and then how does he? He got into the finals, and the whole thing it was weird. It was weird. Of course, PPMD won both of those because even though Fox is bad, it's PPMD, and he wrecked people.
Yeah.
So the finals come along, and it's 4-player matches. It's a 1 4-player match, and this one was items on the lowest possible setting.
Right. It was in the boxing ring.
Yeah, it was in the boxing ring, and Final Smash for Mega Man came up.
Yes, and that was absolutely
Super
amazing.
Fucking hype. I was like, what? And it was really awesome. It was a really good Final Smash, and I think everybody was really excited. And Zero and Hungry Box end up going.
Right.
So it's going to be Zero Suit and Kirby.
As far as I'm concerned, this is when the tournament, when everybody woke up.
So
the announcers started announcing really things, like really following the combos.
So that was
they're just like going at it like crazy.
That was the thing I noticed. Is the commentators mostly are like, oh, look at that item, that was hype, or whatever, right? Or they're yelling about the Mega Man Final Smash, or they're saying the Villager, the Build-A-Bear Smash.
Yeah.
When he did his Final Smash, I thought that was funny.
They had nothing to work with before, No,
and I love that they're making stuff up, and they're just being entertaining and fun.
Right.
And I was like, okay, that was good.
That's what they're called.
Got to the finals, and you could tell it was different.
Yeah, exactly.
They walk down in these ridiculous boxing outfits, which is really funny. Actually, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So they get on stage and they start, and it's Zero Suit Kirby, Battlefield, no items, 8 minutes. Okay, first of all, timeout. That's the first thing. I'm just going to mention it right now. There was a timeout. It timed out. Because of that...
The camp.
Right. Because of that, and the way it looked, it's looking a lot more like Brawl. Now, I'm not saying that that's inherently a bad thing. A lot of people on the internet just freaked the fuck out. They were like, it looks like Brawl, I'm never going to play it. It looks like shit, I hate you, Nintendo. It's like, dude, calm down.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've ever seen anything, right? Anything competitive, at least, with no items, and on Battlefield. You can't just automatically go and say that it looks like utter shit.
And Sakurai already said like 10 times in a row before the tournament.
Yeah.
We're still working on this. This isn't the final thing.
It's still in development. It's still in development. It's a beta. But I will say, and I'm going to stick to this, it looks more like Brawl than it looks like Melee.
Of course. Yeah.
And I am not surprised, because I've said it many times before, probably on this podcast too. Melee was a happy accident.
Right.
It just happened.
Absolutely.
And suddenly people realize that the depth and complexity of things like wave dashing, it allows you to land on platforms, slide off, L canceling, other kinds of canceling.
Just basically bringing, like, so far it's seen unlimited potential to the game.
No, seriously, Fox and Falco, people are still figuring out Fox and Falco stuff.
Yeah.
And making tech skill work.
Right.
I don't think that Smash 4 is going to have all that stuff. Because it doesn't have those techniques to play with.
Right.
But it hasn't come out. So maybe when it does come out, there's something new. I don't know what it is. Maybe you can cancel a dash by doing something else. Cancel a dash by pivoting or doing an attack out of a dash. The problem is that dashing seems very slow.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, and this is what bothers me, you have to commit to dashing. Because you can't, when you jump out of it, you don't keep your momentum. You can't crouch
the
cancel
aerial
a dash.
slows you down.
Yeah, you can't crouch cancel a dash.
Which is like a 50% cut of the combat.
Yeah, you can't hardly even shield out of a dash. I mean, even that's hard to do. Hungrybox was trying to do it the whole time, and he occasionally did it and then got a shield grab out of it. But then after that, Zero knew it was coming, so he spaced it right.
Yeah, I mean, it was dash, dodge,
yeah.
basically.
So I feel like you don't need L canceling, you don't need wave dashing. Obviously, it's not coming back. Right, from what we've seen, it's just not there.
Nope.
Which is fine. I'm okay with it. Alright, great. Let's let it go. So it's not going to have the same movement options. I at least want some kind of movement options, though.
Right.
And I feel like, from watching it, that's not what we're getting. You know, we see Zero just camping with Zero Suit, and what is Kirby going to do? Try to space. Try to get a straight hit now and then. What happens when he dashes? We need something like a dash dance. We need something like a crouch.
I mean,
out of dashing.
Some people will say something like dash dance. It's like, oh, it's that pro thing like wave dashing you can't let go of. It's like, no. Dash dancing is one of the simplest elements to prove how much control you can have over the character.
Exactly. And you have to, like... I feel like they're limiting movement options by getting rid of that.
If you can't dash dance, that's literally the definition. You're limiting options.
Yeah. So now you have the option to walk, enter a dash, or do an attack, and shield. And that's basically it. And my problem is that tilts are going to become the main thing, because now you're walking everywhere. So now tilts are the big thing. Like if they don't have a good tilt move, they're not going to be good. I don't know if that's going to be... The interesting thing about Melee to me is that you are able to have these combos, and you're able to have like these movement options, so that when someone makes a mistake, you get punished for it.
Yeah.
But in Brawl, the thing was, you can make mistakes, but it's all about the straight hits. It's all about one hit there, one hit there, one hit there. If you take a stock, one stock is a significant lead. Whereas in Melee, they make a mistake, you can punish them.
The table can turn.
And the table can turn, and one stock isn't a lead anymore in Melee. Yeah. Right? Mango always says that. One stock isn't a lead. Don't think that it is.
No, yeah.
That's what makes Melee interesting to watch and play, in my opinion. So, and Brawl's a lot more like a slower game like chess. It's just like it all depends on your positioning. It all depends on how many hits you get with Falco's laser, Diddy's bananas, Snake's grenades. It all depends on those stray hits and just adding percent on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I got bored watching and playing Brawl. I just wasn't that interested in that.
Uh-huh.
It's not interesting to me.
Yeah.
And besides the fact that Melee just feels better. To me personally.
Yeah.
It feels like there's weight to the game, and that's something that also Smash 4 doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of weight.
No, so
it doesn't,
far it doesn't.
It doesn't look heavy. However, there are a couple moments I saw in the Invitational where they would fast fall, and it really looked like they were fast falling. Whereas in Brawl, I was like, still taking forever to come down.
Right.
Where, like, Hungrybox would do a back air, and then he would fast fall, and I'm like, that has significant speed to it.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's a good thing. They obviously sped up that part of it. I just don't know how much they've sped it up.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like there were a couple moments, but it's still like a significant amount of the back airs with Kirby were still like, oh, floaty, kind of dealio, and maybe just not used to the formula of it yet.
Maybe, and I mean, he kept saying it's in development, it's not done yet. So really, that could totally change. It's just that the first glimpse we got, I was like,
it's
feels
scary to think about.
It feels floaty. It still feels like it's going to be a lot about stray hits and.
But what I think is the deal with is when they started this game is basically they started with the Brawl formula, and it's modifying down kind of thing, you know. So yeah, I think do you remember way back when we first saw Mario versus Mega Man?
Yeah.
In the very beginning, we were like, oh my gosh, this looks really, really slow kind of thing. Yeah. It's like, maybe if we look back at that, it's like, oh, from there, this is taking a step up kind of thing.
And I think that might be true. I think from early footage, it looked slower than Brawl, even. And this definitely doesn't. This looks pretty much, it looks faster than Brawl. I think on a general scale. Maybe stuff like dashing is still really slow. Dashing and landing, have you noticed, from an aerial attack is really slow.
I think I've seen that, yeah.
And I felt like maybe that was a bug, too, because the thing is, like, a character like Fox was still, like, he would put out the neutral air kick, and he would, like, take forever to land.
Right.
And then somebody would just punish him for it. Like, that was weird.
Honestly, the only characters I thought were really fast was, like, really seeing Zero Suit Samus on the last level. She looked pretty fast, and then, like, Greninja looked pretty fast.
Yeah, Greninja definitely looked fast, too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very excited to see more about it. But I was kind of depending on, like, the Invitational and getting to play it in order for me to see, do I want to get it, like, immediately when it comes out.
Yeah.
And I think after the Invitational, I didn't get a chance to play it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I'm leaning closer to no. I'm going to wait once it comes out.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fine judgment to make for now. I don't really think I'm jumping the gun. A lot of people have been saying, oh, all of you guys are jumping the gun. You haven't even seen it. You haven't seen it yet. And I'm like, well, if it looked like Melee, like really did, and there was actually like dashing, like not even wave dashing, just even a one-button dash, and there was more movement options, I might be closer to buying it on launch. But the fact that it doesn't, I'm going to be like, all right, I'll wait to see when it comes out what happens with it.
Been really thinking about it, and we'll say, yeah, it's definitely in between Brawl and Melee. To us, we've said it looks closer to Brawl. But, I may still jump on this pretty early because I'm really, really enticed by the fact that now we have online rankings.
That's true.
That might even, like, push me to get the 3DS version if we can transfer our ranks into it, kind of thing, because it's like, oh, I want to get a jump on this, get my name up high kind of thing, So that's something we haven't had in Smash before.
That's definitely true. For me, I'm not huge into that kind of stuff usually.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't care. I mean, I cared.
This
in
would
Halo.
be my one game.
Yeah.
I would.
No, I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. I mean, I cared a little bit in the older Halos, and that was basically it. For me, this game is about couch co-op, and it's about the fact that Smash is always going to be fun with items, and a couple players who don't know what they're doing, right? Who are just new to the game.
Yeah.
It's fun for them. It's fun for you. It's fun for everybody when items are on. So Brawl was even fun like that.
Uh-huh.
But when those players go, I don't really want to play Smash anymore because they're on to the new thing. They want to play the new Mario Kart. Maybe they want to play,
That's what makes them casual players.
Right,
you know, not sticking with
like they want to
stuff.
play a new Rayman game. Like my whole family did that for a while. They were like, oh, well, let's play the new Rayman game, right? Like when the new Smash comes out, they'll play it for a few months, right? Like my nephew right now is playing Mario Kart. He'll probably play Smash when it comes out, and then he won't after a while.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be fun like that. So it's worth to pick up to go through the single player mode to do all the events, right? Like it's fun to do that kind of stuff. My question, though, is it worth buying a Wii U for, is something I have to wait on. Because it depends on if I can sit down and play with you or some of our friends who like to turn items off and main a character and go for it. Seriously.
And we don't lose interest.
And we don't lose interest.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's up in the air.
I mean, we tried with Brawl.
No, we
really, really tried
and that's
with Brawl.
the thing, too, is like...
And it just got lost.
Yeah, I was talking with a friend on Facebook the other day, and I won't mention his name. It just doesn't matter. But he was saying he's always really liked Brawl more, and why didn't I like it, and everything. And he was like, oh, you just didn't give it a chance. And I'm like, no. Because I sat there for 6 months and played every single-player thing there was in Brawl.
Yeah.
And also simultaneously played Game & Watch exclusively for like 6 months. And that's all I did. Like, I just played Brawl. And then after 6 months, there was kind of a revelation match I had. It was actually at a tournament in Tempe. And I just had this kind of revelation, and I'm playing against somebody, and I'm like, I don't like this like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've run out of the novelty of, like, let's turn on items and screw around. Kind of run out of that novelty, and it's not fun.
Right.
So I think I'm done. I was done with Smash for a while because I thought, whatever. Melee, we played way too much. And then, like, not even a year later.
We randomly jump back into Melee,
exactly.
and it's like, this is amazing. I missed this.
Seriously, like, I jumped back into Melee not even a year later. I think maybe I was back from my first summer in college. Like, back from the first year.
Yeah.
And that summer, I think, is when the first year we picked up Melee, and we just played it constantly.
Right.
Again.
And
it's like...
Even, like, my little brother Aaron, I mean, he likes Melee better, of course, because he grew up with me, and we played that all the time. But even his group of friends growing up in the same generation, I would call that more of a Brawl generation, just timeline-wise. Yep. They're all into Melee.
They all like Melee more.
It's not a nostalgia thing. All around, people just see so much more potential in it, I feel like.
It's funny because there are people who I know in college who still play Smash 64, and that's all they play.
Uh-huh.
That's their favorite one.
Yeah.
And it's just a preference thing that a lot of people don't get. Like, they're like, oh, it's just because you hardcore players want to play it. Not really. And the reason we're talking about this so much, by the way, is because we get this a lot. This is something that I have to constantly talk about because I'm constantly confronted with, well, you just like Melee because you like to think you're better. And I'm like, dude, I don't even wave dash that much.
Uh-huh.
The reason I like Melee better is because I like the engine better. I like how it feels better. I just like it. I like it a lot more.
Way back in the day, before none of us were good, I can tell you our hype in a single match, just 4-player, in Melee was so much more hype than any match in Brawl.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I can think of maybe 1 or 2 matches in Brawl where it was so hype. You want to know when that was? The first night we got it. And it was because somebody was playing a new character, and they were like, what? That happens? Holy crap.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was always kind of like, it's fun. And then occasionally there's a moment that's like, oh my god, that was like really close. In Melee, that happens every time you sit down for a session. It happens every hour.
Yeah, pretty much.
Without fail.
It's like, oh,
yeah,
oh my gosh, whoa,
yeah.
This is crazy.
So
kind of thing. Yeah.
I don't know. I as far as I can tell, this isn't going to be like Melee. It's not going to be a Melee 2.0. It's not going to have those advanced techniques in there, and it's definitely not going to have the same feel, the same engine.
Right.
So I'll probably still keep playing Melee.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just waiting to see if Smash 4 is different enough while still simultaneously... Because it's not going to be Melee.
Yeah.
But I'm just hoping that it won't be Brawl.
No,
If it's something completely different that I can hold on to and we can play seriously and get into, then I'll be down.
It all
I'll
depends on the
It's-
amount of potential you can take with it, you know?
Yeah. If the first time we play it, like what happened in Brawl, it devolves into just general spacing and there's not a lot going on, and I'm not going to be that interested.
Uh-huh.
And we really don't know. We don't know what's up yet.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah. It could go either way. From the words of Ken, the king of Smash himself, it could go either way.
Definitely.
I don't know. I mean, the other thing about that too is 3DS version comes out, and that's not the best control scheme. I think a lot of people think it feels kind of clunky. But if it comes out, there's a lot of really big players, and you and other people who have 3DSs are kind of always talking about, like, it'll be fun as like a handheld game, but not very much. That's also going to factor into the decision too.
Yeah.
And I think that's factoring into the decision for a lot of people. Because it's not going to be the same game. I mean, the 3DS version is going to be completely different. Well, not completely different. It's going to be different.
Yeah.
And I think that the general feel of the game, you're going to get that from the 3DS version. So if people pick it up and they're like,
If they want to get into the Wii U version, it's basically a head start. You know, even if the control scheme is not the same, you'll be able to be like, okay, so this is the speed of this move kind of thing. I can do this here and this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and again, going back into the power rankings thing, that will entice a lot of people, especially if the 3DS is enveloped in the same power ranking, you know.
Yeah.
It'll give a lot of people a head start kind of thing. So, yeah, I get where you're coming from, but personally, I don't think I'll be able to resist.
I get it. I just don't think I can. I don't know if I would want, or I don't know if I can justify, I guess is the right word, buying a Wii U for it. If I buy a Wii U before it comes out or after it comes out for other things, and it, and there's
well,
Smash,
I mean,
and
that's the thing about Wii U. Right now, there's a ton of really cool stuff coming out for it.
That's true. Like, nothing that I would buy it for, but yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
If you add it all up together, you know.
That's the thing, is like, I think by holiday season, or maybe a little after the holiday season, I think I can justify getting it.
Yeah.
Because the one that I really want to play is the Wind Waker HD. I've never finished the Wind Waker. I really want to play that. Mario Kart 8 is great. It's a great couch co-op game. It's so good, right?
Yeah.
It's classic Mario Kart, and it just feels and looks really good.
Yeah.
So there's games on there that I want to play. It's just, I can't justify going out and buying a $250 console just to play, like, 5 games. You know? I bought the PS3. I got the PS3, I should say. I didn't buy it personally. It was a gift.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot to play.
Right.
I got PlayStation Plus, and suddenly I have games upon games, free games that I've never had the chance to play before. So I hope that's what happens with Wii U, is that more of these games get released, and I want more of them come out. They sound really great.
Absolutely.
Want to get it.
Yeah.
So, but for Smash specifically, I don't think I'm going to be buying it release day, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
That's just me. Yeah. I know you will probably want to, and I think that's great. I honestly think that's great. It's a big deal to you, I think, to kind of not get a head start, but like
stay on top of what's going on and everything.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I think a lot of people feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people who are like, "No, I'm getting it."
Yeah,
you know,
because I mean, there's the casual group who will always just move on to the latest and greatest, and then there's also the group who just loves this franchise so much that they'll just get into it all.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Mewtwo King. You know,
that's true.
The prime example.
That's very true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a beefy discussion
Absolutely.
about E3 and specifically Smash.
Okay, you know what? Really quick, the 3 characters released. Your feelings? Palutena, Pac-Man, and me.
So, you can take or leave me. I knew they were going to do that, but I'm still like, whatever. I think it's great that there's 3 different Mii fighters, and then there's different styles for each one, or special moves for each one. They're basically styles. That's a cool idea. I'm not super hyped about it just because I'm like, okay, whatever. I do think it was really funny the way they chose to announce it by putting like Lincoln and like Elijah Wood. And, like, these random Mii like famous people. I thought that was really cool and really funny. Nintendo has a good sense of humor about that kind of stuff because they obviously know that's what people are going to do with it, which I thought was really funny. But I'm not like, I didn't see either one of those, like the sword, the fighter, or the long range. I didn't see any of those and be like, oh yeah, I want to play that one. I was just kind of like, oh, they look kind of cool.
You know what? I'll be honest. Out of the 3 characters announced, I am probably most excited for the Mii.
Really?
Because honestly, I really have a soft spot in my heart for making characters that look like me and my friends.
Okay.
I freaking loved the Photo Dojo. I loved making us in Soul Calibur. That was super ridiculous. That was fun and funny and stuff. And it's just like, I'm gonna love making characters in this game. And just the custom moveset, you have to look deep into yourself and it's like, okay, I got like 36 options. Which one is me? Kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it.
And even Pokemon, I name a bunch of them after my friends.
Yeah,
and those are
true.
like, those are. I got a soft spot for that kind of stuff, you know, putting ourselves into the games.
It's understandable, but I don't really, and I'm not just like huge excited about making Elijah Wood, for instance, either. So I'm kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. I knew they were going to do that though. I knew that was something.
Yeah. I mean, we had the Mii level released a lot earlier, and it seemed kind of inevitable.
You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that they did it though, because I think it's just a natural thing to put in there, and I think it fits well.
Yeah.
You know, put yourself into the game. Yeah.
Right.
I totally think that fits. So as far as Pac-Man goes, I think we already talked about this. Kind of underwhelmed. I don't really want to play him. I'm not like, clamoring to play Pac-Man. I don't care, really. I really don't. But I'm glad that he's in it. It's cool to see Mega Man, Mario, Pac-Man, Sonic, all these characters in one game. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So
I feel like Pac-Man personally will definitely take a really similar like route to Sonic, where like when you first heard about him, it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Everyone's like, oh, I'm maining Sonic, and then you play him, and it's just like, I don't like this that much, kind of thing, you know?
I think his moveset's just going to be very plain, like Sonic was.
But, the one move that interests me is that one where he turns into the Pac-Man form, and it seems like you just have free will control to go wherever you want for, like, a small period of time, and it's like, dude, that could get really strategic, you know?
Could be interesting.
Yeah. For some really... like crazy combos.
Yeah. I don't know. So Pac-Man's
yeah
for me. But Palutena is the one I'm most excited about. She just has a lot of very cool moves.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen, looks to be a really interesting mix of ranged and melee fighting. And I really like characters like that because they have a lot of potential. Because they're characters that aren't going to be like Pac-Man, where you have to stick to a certain set of things to make him a fighter. Like with Mega Man, you couldn't make Mega Man punch somebody; they had to make the shooter.
Right.
With Pac-Man, you have to give him the ghosts.
Yeah.
With Palutena, do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah,
this isn't a franchise that we're hugely protective of. Just go.
Yeah.
That brings in a lot of potential. Like, what do you do with her character?
Right.
How do you make her moves? What moves does she have? Could be really interesting.
It's really relative to like when Fox first came into Smash. It's like, where the heck did these kind of moves come from?
He has like the Firefox and the side.
The Firefox is like the most random thing ever.
Where the fuck did the shine come from?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
But it's like, he's in a ship the whole time. What do you do with that?
yeah,
Kind of thing, you know?
you just make up moves.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know enough about Kid Icarus, but does Palutena ever fight in those games? Like, do you see her fight?
They said in the trailer you fight her
Yeah.
once when she's possessed by a bad guy.
Maybe,
Or
okay.
something, so.
Yeah,
Maybe she had something to do, but
maybe.
personally, I don't think Palutena's my type. I feel like I don't gravitate too much towards the intense, like, boatload of specials kind of characters.
Okay.
I'm more towards, like, super fast, just hand-to-hand fighting
Okay. Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah.
That's my cup of tea when it comes to a fighter. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not big on the Samus. I couldn't play Snake at all. Like, way too many
yeah.
weapons and specials. It's like I just want to do down A and just kick you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm excited about the opportunity to see what all these different special moves are, and
Yeah.
I think it's going to be cool. And I like getting into those kind of characters because you gotta get to see what they're all about.
Absolutely, she's going to be intense.
Yeah.
No argument about that.
Like, I'm already excited for Rosalina
right.
because I think that mechanic's really interesting. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for Palutena because I'm seeing what kind of move she has is going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's the one that I'm most excited about for the 3 announced ones.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
hoping Game & Watch gets announced. He was in that little Pac-Man trailer at the very, very end.
That would be really cold if they don't keep him in and have him in that teaser.
Yeah.
I think he's in.
I hope he is. I
Yeah.
really do. So yeah, that's Smash 4.
Yeah.
I am cautiously optimistic about the next few months of coverage. If they're announcing new things
Right.
and they're putting out new footage and other things are happening, then it might, I'm obviously going to be looking at it. It's Smash. I can't not. I can't just ignore it.
Seriously.
I am going to get caught up in the hype, and I was caught up in a lot of the hype of the Invitational.
Yeah.
Even though it did look kind of iffy sometimes, I was
frustrated,
yeah,
but I loved seeing the final smashes.
Yeah.
Those were great.
Yeah, so I'm still excited for it.
Yeah.
It's just a caution thing. There's a lot of caution.
I still have a poker face till I get my hands on it.
Yeah.
We'll see. Definitely.
All right, so yeah, that episode ran longer than our usual episodes, but that's okay.
I think this is a new record.
And
we have had hour-and-a-half ones before.
We have.
Yeah.
This is a little long, but that's okay. I'm
It's
glad you guys...
E3. People understand. We covered
True.
a crap ton of material.
We covered a lot of stuff. So, all right. Well, if you want to tell us it was too long, you can find it. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, tell us if it is too long. Actually, I am curious to see what you guys think about length about these podcasts.
Absolutely.
Tell us what's up. But you can find us at Twitter at the Fanvoice Podcast.
YouTube.com/thefanvoicepodcast.
Facebook.com/thefanvoicepodcast.
Our special email, fan@thefanvoice.com.
And you can also go and look at all the news articles and everything going on thefanvoice.com.
Yep.
Where we have articles, and that's where we post our podcasts and everything else. So.
Yeah, along with great discussions, reviews, and little news tidbits every day.
Yep.
So check it out, etc., etc.
All right. Well, good discussion about E3.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I guess we will see you guys next week.
Yep. See you later.
Bye, guys.